The 2024 Player's Handbook gave us updates to a lot of different spells. What spell are we going to talk about today? Well, that is the subject for what is going to be discussed on this video. Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urius Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today on the Dr. Spell Prognosis video, we are going to be talking about the Cantrip Shillelagh and what changes got made. Did it get better? Did it get worse? Did it combine with other spells better or worse? What classes can be used with it? We're going to go over all that. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right. Let's get out of the picture here of the Player's Handbook, and let's go right over to Shillelagh, or as I like to call it, Shillelagh, but it is Shillelagh. And here is the Legacy version. It was a cantrip, it was a bonus action, touch, verbal somatic material component. It lasted for a minute. You took a club or a quarterstaff, and you imbued it with nature's power. This was a druid spell, obviously. And then for the duration, which was 1 minute, you could use your spellcasting ability instead of your strength, because druids generally don't have great strength. And you can attack with the club or quarterstaff using your spellcasting ability, which for a druid was probably wisdom. And the weapon dealt a d8 of damage, and it was magical if it wasn't already. And then if you let go of the weapon, the spell would end, but that didn't really matter because it's a cantrip. You can cast it forever. Now, there are some significant changes to this, and we're going to take a look at that. So, it's still a cantrip. It's still a bonus action. It's still a range of self. It's still verbal, somatic, and material component. It still has a duration of 1 minute. So, basically, all that stuff didn't change. Druid is still the only class that gets it on a list, but there are ways around that. There's formatting changes to the description, and let's go through those. So it is a club or a quarterstaff you are holding is imbued with nature's power. For the duration, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of your strength, so that didn't change. The die of the damage became a d8. Now, instead of, with the Legacy version, we got it's magical. Now it does force damage, or the weapon's normal damage type, your choice, because something could be immune or resistant to force damage, but not bludgeoning damage like a club or quarterstaff does. So, but then, would it be magical? I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says weapon's normal damage type. So, you have to kind of think, but it does do extra damage. If you let go of it, then just like the previous spell, in the Legacy version, the spell ends early, which doesn't matter because it's a cantrip, it's a bonus action, so you just cast it in your next turn. Now, the big upgrade to this is this sentence cantrip upgrade, which was not in the Legacy version. It just went to a d8, and that's it, and that's all you did. Now, the damage die goes up to a d10 at 5th level, a d12 at 11th level, and 2d6 at 17th level. So a d8 does an average of 4.5 damage, and then it essentially is going up by 1. So a d10 is 5.5, a d12 is 6.5, and 2d6 is 7. So not quite 1, but almost 1. Now this is pretty significant. So this is a bump to damage on that one. And that does improve. This was a great spell to begin with. So I didn't really, when I first did this spell for grades, I didn't really give out any grades for these. I would give Shillelagh, because of its versatility, and again, the way that I look at spells and the way that I grade spells is, can I use a spell every combat? This one is an absolute yes for that. Check that box off immediately. Will I use this spell every combat? If I've got the certain kind of build, yes, I will use this spell every combat. So you can, relative to other spells, it's a bonus action. There's not a lot you can do with a lot of bonus actions with a lot of character classes or character builds, so we can check that one too. Is this integral to a build, or is it going to impact my character? Yes, I'm going to make a build around this, and you're going to see when we go through all of these different spell combinations and feats and classes that it is absolutely integral. So yes, it's integral. We'll check that off. And does it impact the rest of my party? Does it help us in a combat situation get through things? Is it going to tip the balance in our favor? And the answer to that is probably yes. So this one, because the legacy version is a yes to all those, I'm going to give it an A-. But because the new version is exactly the same, except it bumps damage as you go up in levels, we're going to give this one an A. This is a go-to spell. And there's another reason why I'm giving this an A that has to do with the 2024 rules. So this one is on the Druid list. How do you get this for another character that's not a Druid? And there are ways of doing that. And this is what we're going to talk about. Magic Initiate, and this is the new Magic Initiate. We talked about this, and this is the reason why I'm giving Shillelagh an A. Magic Initiate is essentially a free feat. It's an origin feat, and you get 2 cantrips of your choice from the Cleric, Druid, or Wizard spell level. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting modifier for this feat. So when you take Magic Initiate, you take Shillelagh, and then you choose your spellcasting ability instead of Strength for this one, and now you can cast Shillelagh essentially forever. It's on your spell list, and because it's a cantrip and it generally goes up when your levels go up, it's going to go up automatically to the new dice of damage, which is great. And then the rest of this doesn't matter for Magic Initiate. You just take Magic Initiate just to get Shillelagh for the build that you're going to be using. Now, the other reason why this is an A spell is because of the weapon masteries that are now present. And we just need to take a level of a fighter or maybe a rogue or maybe a couple other classes just to get the weapon masteries. We don't really care about the rest of the stuff. But once we have the weapon mastery for this, it combines, again, with that free feat we got, and then the fact that now we've got a magical weapon that can do force damage, which most things take force damage, and that die actually increases. So now we've got a club. Now it doesn't say great club, it says club. So we've got a club, and the weapon mastery for club, and club is a light attack. It's a light property, so if you wanted, you could use another club in the other hand. We've got the weapon mastery slow. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to it, you can reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. If you hit the creature more than once by weapons that have this property, the speed doesn't exceed 10 feet. So this one, a club will reduce the speed by 10 feet. Then we've got topple. So if you hit a creature with this weapon, you can force that creature to make a con saving throw DC plus the ability modifier used to make the attack roll, which is your spellcasting modifier, plus your proficiency bonus. So if you had an 18 intelligence, this is going, and you were 5th level, this is going to be 12 plus 3, 15. It's going to be a DC 15 con. Now, con saves kind of suck for creatures. And it sucks for the player, is what I mean by that. So the con save, usually con saves are pretty high for creatures. But if it fails, it's prone. So all you have to do is just hit it, and then it's prone. And prone is a horrible condition. If you got rogues in the party, they love being, things are prone. People have advantage, all that. So you could be hitting once, multiple times around with quarterstaff that is a Shillelagh and knocking things prone now. So that even makes Shillelagh better because we can add that onto it. Polearm Master didn't really change very much, but you can do the pole strike because immediately after you attack, take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff. Look at that. The spell does quarterstaff. Okay. Or a weapon that has the heavier reach property. So we don't even have to have that. We just have to have a quarterstaff. You can use a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end. The weapon deals bludgeoning damage, and the damage die for this is a D4. So you use the other end. Now, I would say it's a D4, and it's not going to be, because the whole thing is shillelagh'd, but I would say it's just a D4. And then while you're holding it, you can take a reaction to make a melee attack against a creature that enters the reach you have. Again, if you got weapon mastery for this, there's prone right there. That's awesome. So you can combine weapon mastery with it. Now, you'd have to have a prerequisite level of 14 and a strength or dex of 13, but again, if you're taking some levels in fighter, it's okay. Again, here's another great spell combo for this one, and this is a new spell. It's an updated spell. It was updated very significantly. I've already talked about this, and that's True Strike. So, guided by a flash of magical insight, you make one attack with the weapon using the spells used in the spell's casting. The attack uses your spellcasting modifier. Okay, got it. And the attack and damage rolls instead of for strength and dex. If it deals damage, it can be radiant damage. Now, all of a sudden, it can be radiant or force damage or the weapon's normal damage type. And even better, whenever you deal radiant damage or the weapon's normal damage type, the attack deals extra radiant damage when you reach levels 5, 11, and 17. Now, at level 5, we're doing 1d10 plus 1d6 plus our bonuses. So, again, this starts stacking up a lot. We can use it with Booming Blade. Now, you're only going to get one attack because this is a spellcasting action. You can use it with Green Flame Blade. Again, it's a spellcasting action. Now, what classes and what kinds of builds, and I'm going to need to make a good build for this, but a Blade Singer is perfect for this. And the biggest reason why is this extra attack. You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Moreover, you can cast one of your cantrips in place of those attacks. So you could do Shillelagh in place of one of those. You could do True Strike in place of one of those. I would, Shillelagh lasts for a minute, so you could have a Shillelagh quarterstaff, and you could cast True Strike on one of those attacks. So now you're doing a D10 plus a D6, and then you can use another attack without using the cantrip. So a lot of good stuff to go with this spell. I would say that it's definitely a bump just because of the use with this spell now, with a lot of different mechanics that are involved and integral to the 2024 5.24 Player's Handbook and Dungeons & Dragons, and because of the die change that happens. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.